I'm so sorry. I accidentally ended my stream on accident because I'm a dumbass. Oh my god, I accidentally pressed on, like, the button and then, like, ended the stream on accident. Like, I accidentally... What did I do? I pressed a button with my foot where the electricity was and turned it off, and thus I accidentally ended my stream because I was looking for that goddamn cricket! I'm trying to I'm stomping because I'm trying to, like, make that thing go away. Hold on, I have to check this out. Oh my god, yeah, so you can hear that. Okay, just making sure. Alright. I'm gonna continue again, but I fucked up like a dumbass. Okay, let's try again. Alright. Okay. Yep. As for that, it may be faster to see the actual circumstances rather than listen to me tell you. Let us advance the clock a little more. Ronove pulled a stylish pocket watch from his pocket and touched the watch stem. As soon as he did, I saw golden butterflies gather behind his back and take form of a person. Was it Beato? I quickly realized it was someone else. It was her, the oldest sister of the 7 stakes who loved tormenting me more than her 3 meals a day. If I don't consider myself lucky to see that sexy ass, I won't be able to keep up with her torture game. Ronove, so you're still here. This is an urgent call from Beatrice. My money, what kind of urgent business could it be? It seems my chat with Battler has run a tad long. Well then, Battler, if you will excuse me, please continue to enjoy your game with Milady. Yeah, I'll enjoy it as best as I can. Because my conversations go a lot more smoothly when they're with you as opposed to her. And you're a lot more gracious with the red, too. Come and talk to me anytime you like. Battler, despite how I look, I am Milady's furniture. I can do nothing that Milady does not desire. What I said and read was something that normally should have come from Milady's mouth. I did nothing more than announce the red truth in Milady's place as she sulked. So she was really sulking then. Seeing me and Ronove incomprehensibly hit it off, the steak Neichan cocked her head curiously. Ronove, we are keeping Beatrice waiting. Let us hurry. Yes, I shall go immediately. Well, Battler, I'll see you later. It appears that we have finally started getting along. As I thought, I have a feeling we'll manage to become good friends. Sure, if you mean partners that gossip behind Beato's back. Ronove! Yes. If you'll excuse me. Maybe she didn't like seeing him act so friendly with me. Or maybe she really had been told to hurry. When the snake let out her thunderous cry, Ronove laughed frivolously and disappeared as if running away. Why am I the oldest sister of the 7 stakes of Purgatory? Oh, let me try again. Sorry. I really can't. I'm so upset. Okay, hold on. I'm stomping to try to get rid of the sound of crickets or something. I don't know. I'm trying to find that thing. If I accidentally click on the electricity again and trying to get rid of the sound of the cricket, I don't know what I'll do. Okay. Why am I the oldest sister of the 7 stakes of Purgatory being summoned for a menial task like this? Even though Beato could have told one of the younger sisters who looked like they got nothing better to do. Sheesh. Why so grumpy, Neichan? If you're hungry, eat a cookie or something. Why don't I give you the last one? How thoughtful. Then shall I take one? I casually pushed the snack plate with the last remaining cookie over to her. Thank you. As though coming as a period at the end of the sentence, a sharp sound pierced the table. The nails of 3 of her fingers extended and grew sharp, and pierced the space between my fingers on the hand that was pushing the plate, missing them by a hair's breadth. It happened an instant, so for a while, I didn't even realize her fingernails had grown. The tips of those sharp nails were like blades with a red manicure. The spaces between the bases of my fingers hurt sharply. Those razor-like blades had plunged into the table's hair breadth away from the back of my hand and my fingers. Because of those 3 blades, I was unable to even let my careless right hand tremble, and by now, all I could do was let a bead of cold sweat drip down. Whoa, Nei-chan, isn't it about time for you to cut your nails? It's Lucifer. That is my glorious name. The honored furniture who serves Beatrice, the oldest sister of the 7 stakes of purgatory. I'm not like my disgraceful younger sisters. If you don't show proper respect, you will regret it. And why would I regret it exactly? Can't really think of a reason. Stupid kid. Do you really want to play with me that much? Was it that unforgettable? I'll thrust my stake deep into you and let you enjoy being gouged to the fullest, okay? Damn it! Someday I'll have you down on the floor and say the same thing. Oh, really? Wow, I can't wait. Rosa eventually regained her calm. The men wanted to hurry her into talking faster, but Kiria intervened. If something like that really happened, then it would have been a terrible experience that Rosa wouldn't have wanted to remember. After taking several deep breaths with her hand over her chest, it seemed she had more or less resolved herself to talk. How old was I then, I wonder? Middle school probably, though I don't really remember well. Anyway, I think I was about that age. Which means maybe about 20 years ago? Back then, my grades weren't very good, and Mother was always angry at me. I tried to do my best in my own way, but I couldn't match up to Mother's expectations at all. Mother was always very strict with Rosa. I sympathized with her all the time. Yeah, sure. You say that even though you were always talking behind her back. Would you give it a rest, Ava? And then, where did you meet Beatrice, Rosa? Hideyoshi, you mustn't rush her now. It's okay, Rosa. Tell us at your own pace. Thank you. It was a day I'd been harshly scolded by Mother. Even though my tutor had promised to keep it a secret, apparently they told Mother about how all I had complained. Oops. Even though it was supposed to be a secret, apparently they told Mother about how I complained. Mother scolded me brutally, saying that my name was a disgrace to the Ushiromiya family. Of course, I was doing the best I could, but I had none of Krause's dignity, and I couldn't get excellent grades like Ava. I had no leadership abilities like Rudolph. I never stood out and didn't particularly excel at anything. And I found myself asking, why was I even born? I messed up. Let me try again. I don't know why I'm messing up so bad. I'm so bad at this. Okay. Just trying to make sure I'm doing things right. What am I doing? Okay. Just making sure. Okay. I never stood out and didn't particularly excel at anything, and I found myself asking, why had I even been born to the Ushiromiya family? I began to question more and more why I'd even been born at all. This is what happened on the day I experienced my mind going blank for the first time. The first time in my life, I realized that in addition to facing or surrendering to my problems, I had the third choice of running away. Though I say run away, there was no way I could have left Rokenjima and gone somewhere else. But anyway, I wanted to run away from the mansion on my own self at that time. In a way, it was like that kid running away from home. Or maybe a passive sort of trying to end things. I wanted to disappear. Maybe it was that childlike form of resistance where I tried to make my parents worry by disappearing. I childishly thought if I went into the center of the forest and escaped from the Ushiromiya house and maybe became lost, I'd make them worry and teach them a lesson. And then you went into the forest and told them to enter? Yes. After reaching the beach, I fell alongside the ocean. I didn't have any particular reason. I felt if I went around to the opposite side of the island, there might be a place where no one else knew about, which might have become a hidden house just for me. go around the beach, that'd be impossible. It becomes a cliff part way. There's no way you could pass that way. Of course. So I kept going wherever I could, which kept taking me deeper and deeper inland. It was a horrible forest without any paths. But it was comforting to me then. If I could make it through such a dangerous forest, then I'd be much further away from the Ushirmiya family. How shameful. If you were schooled because of your grades, all you had to do was work harder. You mustn't say that. Doesn't Rosa have her talent as a designer instead? Literally speaking, he was covering for Rosa, but everyone knew that Rosa's company hadn't been profitable. Quit it. This is no time for sarcasm. Yeah, and you all suck. So you managed to end up here by coincidence. At Beatrice's hidden mansion. Rosa nodded weakly. But how far did you walk? Show it to us on a map? Natsu, do you have a map of this island? No, there isn't one here now. It wouldn't help. I was just walking randomly. Even if you gave me a map, I wouldn't know. And 20 years have passed since then. I probably couldn't reach it again, even if I went into the forest. Several people let out dejected sighs. It was vividly clear that in their haste they thought of some hint related to the witch's epitaph. Maybe even the gold itself might be resting there. Orokinjima, the only land around the mansion, is about to be developed on. The rest is completely uncultivated. It probably took a lot of work to survey the entire island. But just knowing that it actually exists is helpful. It would take some money, but if we enlisted an aerial photography company to investigate, or ask the businessmen who constructed this mansion about what happened at the time, we could probably find some way to search for it. That's right. At least we have more options now, as opposed to when we were sure it existed. Indeed, it may be worth investigating right away. The siblings will do that investigation together. We won't leave you on your own, Nissan. It wasn't yet certain that the gold was hidden on the secret mansion, but the sparks seem to have been flying between Crafts and Amen already. Give it a rest for now, you two. Rosa, please continue. Yes. If you hear any rattling, it's because I'm trying to make sure I don't hear the sound of crickets. Blindly, randomly, I kept running on and on. Suddenly, I came across something I thought was an animal trail. I was getting tired. I had no idea how far I walked. So at that time, I naturally took the easiest path. As I did, suddenly, right before my eyes, a very, very tall fence appeared. It was a fence wonderfully adorned in a Gothic style. For an instant, I thought I'd turn around and return to the original mansion. Of course, there were fences around the mansion to stop us from entering the forest. But this fence was decorated differently, and moreover, it was very tall. It probably reached a full 2 stories up. It was covered with ivy and created a mysterious, solemn atmosphere. At the time, I believed in the legend of the Witch of the Forest, Beatrice. I had been told that she was frightening, but some of the servants told me that she sometimes helped you if you respected her. Since I had little confidence in those days, I believed the only way I could be saved was by receiving her help. That was why I thought what I did. I believed this is the fence of the mansion belonging to Beatrice, the Wizard of the Forest. I thought if I could meet with Beatrice, she'd definitely save me. So I decided to try going in. But the fence was very, very tall. It didn't look like I'd be able to go over it, so I chose to walk around it. I thought if I did, I'd eventually reach a gate. But it wasn't that easy. The fence had an incredible length to match its incredible height. No matter how far I went, I didn't reach a corner. I might have encircled a massive area, or maybe I just had that impression because of my child's legs. It made it difficult to walk in the forest. Anyway, I couldn't find a gate for a while. And I started to feel sad, as though the witch had rejected me. And as As I did, I eventually came across a large tree whose twisted root had bent the fence. It might get my clothes dirty, but if I crawled, it looked like I'd be able to sneak in. And there you found the hidden mansion. I don't know if it was a hidden mansion we've been talking about. Still, at the very least, it wasn't a place that we know of. It wasn't as though I came out into the garden as soon as I passed the fence. I had to continue through a lot more uncultivated forest after that. Sorry. As I did, the forest suddenly opened up, and what appeared there was an unbelievably fantastical scene. To think that on Rokenjima, where I thought only we lived, there could be such a wonderful mansion hidden away. A beautiful flower garden spanned across the mansion. It was a front flower garden with a completely different design from the rose garden we know so well, and it was very lovely. Of course, the mansion was also wonderful. A couple sizes smaller than ours, but it was still elegant and adorable at the same time. Then I saw her figure. I saw her sitting in a garden chair positioned to give a view of the flower garden, wearing an elegant dress. It was a black dress embroidered in gold that we could later know from the portrait. Sorry if you're hearing lots of noises. I just really want to make sure I don't hear those cricket sounds. Anyway, I hadn't seen an elegant dress like that except in fairy tales and on the stage of musicals. For a person to be wearing it as if it were normal clothes, that in itself seemed quite fantastical. That mysterious scene was enough to make me lose my sense of reality. If someone had told me then that that was a dream, I might have nodded obediently and waited to wake up in my bed. I'd forgotten to hide myself in my shock, so she eventually spotted me. At first, her expression was quite listless, but when she noticed me, her eyes opened very wide. It was only natural considering that I guess she didn't know had suddenly appeared. I lowered my head automatically, planning to greet her and apologize for entering without permission. Who are you? The new gardener. Those were the first words she said to me. I grew slightly calmer, because I realized we could talk to each other. Because I hadn't been turned into a frog just by meeting her eyes, like that terrifying witch in a fairy tale. Sorry, you might hear a couple of noises. I'm trying to find that creature that's irritating me. Alright. Alright, let me try again. So. I'm sorry. I shouldn't have entered the garden without permission. Who are you? Name yourself. I am Ushiromiya Rosa. Ushiromiya. Huh? One of Kinzo's family? Huh? Yes! I'm Kinzo's daughter. Good afternoon! I was a little surprised. After all, Father was a great man feared by everyone, and yet she had spoken of him without using honorifics, so I was immediately terrified of her. After all, if she could refer to my fearsome father that way, she must be a witch of incredible power. After staring at me curiously, she beckoned me to come over. Frightened as I was, I obeyed. After all, I thought she might really turn me into a frog. The closer I got, the stronger that fear became. After all, as I keep saying over and over, that woman in her dress, the flower garden, the mansion, that whole picture was so fantastical and beautiful that it seemed separate from reality. It probably wouldn't have surprised me at all to learn that she really was a witch. And I was really lucky. She hadn't turned me into a frog. As I awkwardly stood there, stock still, she motioned to an open chair and urged me to sit down. Sorry sorry if you hear sounds in every interval. I'll probably try to edit them later. Have a seat. Welcoming and speaking to those who visit this garden for the first time is my sole pleasure. Of course, I have no pleasures other than that. As she said this, she let an unhappy smile show for just an instant. Because I was full of a strange mix of tension and excitement, I rudely asked her a question all of a sudden. Are you the witch of the forest, Beatrice? Indeed, I am Beatrice. As I thought, Beatrice actually existed. Did she really look like the portrait? Yes, really, just like the portrait. So, she wasn't just a witch from Father's imagination. Well, what did you talk about with her? As she prepared some tea, she asked me all sorts of things about myself. First, she was surprised that I had come through the forest. It seemed she believed that many dangerous wolves lived outside of the fence. So when I told her I'd come through the forest to reach this place, she was shocked. She asked about how I managed to escape from the wolves. Did I give them a biscuit and they let me go? Or did I cover myself in a magic cloak? That kind of thing. That sure sounds like a witch. What an interesting person. Quiet, dear. This goes way back. But didn't Father threaten us, saying we should never get near the forest because of the wolves that live there? Yes, he did say something of the sort. Ridiculous. Even though Japanese wolves went extinct long ago. Truly a trick to fool children. I don't remember, though. Did Dad really tell us something like that? It was the witch of the forest, right? I don't think I ever heard about wolves. I just really have to make sure that that thing doesn't come back. This was when you were still in elementary school. Don't you remember? Back then, you actually said you thought it'd be cool to try petting the wolves. Father immediately gave up the wolf story and changed it to a story about the witch. Seriously, what transparent lies they were. At the time, the witch story had a much more immediate effect on you, Rudolph, than the wolves. I remember it well. Don't you remember those nights where you clung onto my back? I see. So even Rudolph used to be that cute. Shut up. I have to make sure that thing doesn't show up. Go away. Go away, you stupid cricket. I really don't want to deal with the goddamn cricket. So anyway, shut up. I was just a kid. Well, at any rate, if Father's the one who shut Beatrice up in there, it makes sense he used the same story about wolves. To him, the vast forest of Rokanjima was a wall that shouldn't be crossed, dividing his two incompatible worlds, the Ushiromiya family and his mistress's mansion. Considering the height of that fence, it does sound as though Father turned that whole area, garden and all, into a giant jail cell. Just like a border dividing his two separate worlds. Wolves aside, could there have been some breed of stray dogs there at the time? Perhaps the fence was there to protect against those. There aren't any wolves or stray dogs on Rokanjima. That fence was probably a border between us and Beatrice. But if she innocently believed that story about wolves, that's pretty naive. That's nothing like I'd expect a witch to do. You're right. I sense that too. She was very pompous, just like my image of a witch, but she was somehow very childish. She was, how should I put it, too straightforward. She gave me the impression she didn't know anything about the world. I'm sorry, I can't stand crickets. I really cannot. It was as though she'd come from some fairy tale land. She really was a strange person. What happened after that? Did you end up talking about Dad at all? Yes. Once every few days, arranged on this island, sometimes suddenly, Father would casually appear and they'd drink together or else take a walk together or something. She said she just happened to be along on the day that I visited. I see. An obvious mistress, you might say. My. I don't know how much younger she was, but good for father. We can't be sure this is no indecent relationship. Idiot. There's no way a lover's meeting between a man and a woman wouldn't have some sensuality. What happened next? What did you talk about after that? I already introduced myself, so I asked about her. When I did, the atmosphere quickly grew depressing. How should I put it? She seemed to grow listless and lonely. It was that same expression I saw on her face in the beginning. Sorry, give me another moment. I have to make sure that thing doesn't make that noise. I can't stand it. My patience with it is growing thin. I have no patience for insects that make loud noises. Really sorry. I'm just edit this out when I do post it on YouTube. Well, she was his hidden mistress after all. If she just walked around wherever she liked, Mom might have found her. I bet she was practically under house arrest. Even though she had beautiful clothes and a beautiful mansion and a garden, she must have felt pretty cramped. I bet she had it rough. And then? Yep, people who are like, oh my god, you're so lucky to whatever. It's like, yeah, people appreciate their freedom. You know what? Animals, like, they crawl around and back and forth in the zoo. Back and forth. They're pacing. And because, like, they want to have things to do that, to move around. I do that a lot. So, yeah, it's just like Rudolph said, so. She was definitely worried about something. I remember feeling really sad myself. I realized it wasn't something that I could do anything about by talking to her. She seemed to forget I was even there. She gazed off vaguely off into the distance and was silent for a long, long time. I thought I must have said something wrong, but it didn't seem to be the type of atmosphere where I could apologize, so I remained silent too for a long, long time until I remembered I was there. I really have to make sure that I don't hear that thing at all costs. Anything not to hear a stupid cricket. Okay. And then she muttered unexpectedly. Oh, I love this song. Are there really no wolves beyond the fence? Huh? Yes, that's right. I've never seen wolves, not even in the zoo. What is a zoo? It's a place where they keep all kinds of animals. They're full of rare animals like elephants and giraffes and pandas. So there aren't any wolves in a zoo. Then, it might not be so scary. Even if they're wolves, all the animals are put in cages, so it's safe. That's why you can safely look at them and learn about them. The mighty witch of the forest is apparently terrified of wolves. I remember it looked pretty funny to me at the time. How am I any different? Huh? She didn't know about zoos. I explained how fun zoos could be, but it was very difficult for a person like her who would never visit one to understand. On the contrary, as I explained to her, her expression grew increasingly dismal. She couldn't see the difference. Apparently, even though she lived in an elegant mansion that was surrounded by a high fence and seemed to lack for nothing, she couldn't see how she was any different from the animals shut up in the cages. Who am I? Everyone calls me Beatrice, and that does indeed seem to be the name of a great witch, as you say, but that isn't me. I cannot use any magic. I simply have the soul of a witch sealed inside my body. There was definitely something odd about her, beyond just being cut off from the world. It seems she truly believed that magic exists. I think I'm gonna have to just reread this part. But anyway, I think she talked about lots of weird things, but I don't remember the details. All I thought was that this might be a person to be pitied. She was unable to leave this mansion of her own free will, a prisoner without even realizing it. She didn't know anything about the outside world and didn't even understand who she was. She probably vaguely realized that she was to be pitied, but since she didn't know anything, she's incapable of recognizing her own unhappiness. Long ago, when I told Nasa I felt sorry for a bird in a cage, she said this: "A bird that only knows the inside of the cage doesn't long for the outside." But this wasn't a bird. She really was a person. Even if she'd never been outside the cage, she understood that there was more to the world. So, I invited her. Do you want to try going outside the fence? There really aren't any wolves? There aren't. You'll definitely be safe. I want to leave. The gate is always closed. There's a place I came in through. It's got a crack so you can slip through. If we go through there, will there be a world outside? Yes. There really aren't any wolves? Right, there aren't any. I only planned on inviting her to go out on a short walk, but she kept looking over her shoulder at the mansion as though she was seriously worrying over a decision. And I learned what she was preparing herself for. I'm sorry, I have to interrupt. At least I'll have like the visual footage, but it's gonna be so annoying. I'm sad. Anyway, I've had enough of this place. I want to go outside, and I want to know who I am, what's happening in this world, and why was I born? I didn't know what her life had been like before then. It was probably something she couldn't express easily. If it was harsh, she just had to say she wanted to escape. If it was sweet, she just had to say she'd stay. For example, maybe it was like how a hot fireplace on a winter day makes the air get thicker and thicker, giving you a headache. Even though you know you shouldn't keep things the way they are, you still need the courage to open the window and be tormented by the cold wind. She was starting to realize she couldn't stay there forever. She was starting to realize she had to go outside someday. But since she didn't know about the outside world, she must have needed courage to take that unspeakable first step outside. And despite that, she had made her decision. She'd voiced her decision to go outside, a decision she was probably making for the first time in her life. I hesitated for a moment. Father had decided that she should live here. She was like Father's beloved bird in a cage. If I just let her escape, Father might scold me harshly. I want to see. See what? I want to see a zoo. I was just a little surprised when she finally gave me a gentle smile. Could that have been a farsightedness brought about by her decision to venture out from her cage? It was a smile so gentle, I couldn't even imagine it had come from that once dark face. When I speak with you, I keep hearing about things I don't know. I don't even know about this thing called school, nor do I know about zoos. I don't know about movie theaters. I don't know about amusement parks. And I feel from the bottom of my heart that I want to know about those things. Will you take me to see them? Huh? Yes. I was nervous about how I could keep it a secret from Father. But her face looked so happy, so I went along with her and nodded. But she seemed not to notice the meaning behind my vague smile. She seemed to believe that I'd really take her to all those places. She was pure and genuine. She'd probably never been tricked by anyone. No. Maybe it's better to say that she's never learned how to doubt. Her smile was somehow radiant and yet pathetic. I wanted to find a way to grant her modest wish. I have had enough of Beatrice. I want to know who I am. I want to start as a new human, not Beatrice. So I want you to take me away from here. I don't need tea anymore. I don't need this dress. I won't meet with Kinzo again. Please, take me away from here, Rosa. However, that responsibility was one that a child like me couldn't fully hope to bear. Still, when I saw her serious gaze, along with that brilliant smile that made it look as though a spirit possessing her had left her, I could feel a little courage start to rise up inside me. That was definitely something that would get me into a lot of trouble, and yet it was definitely the right thing to do. I don't know how it'll turn out, but take her away from here. Of course, I won't be able to talk to father and not mother either. Should I talk to Oni-sama or Oni-sama? No, what about the reliable Genji? Or, that's right, what about Kumasawa, whom I can always talk to when I'm in trouble? I'm sure they'll be able to do something. Anyway, for now, I'll take her out of here. This is already a place she didn't want to be. So I took her to the crack in the fence and let her outside. She was all nervous, checking to make sure there were no wolves all around. But once that fear disappeared, even just walking around the dense forest seemed to be fun somehow. Every time she found out something, she'd ask me about it. And they were all really trivial things. What's that flower? What's that leaf? And that sound? And that smell? It really was like the inside of that fence had been her entire world. So now that she'd traveled beyond the limits of her world, it's strange. When I first saw her, I really thought she was the witch herself, relaxing inside the witch's mansion. But now, it was different, or actually the complete opposite. She left a world she believed to be finite and was overjoyed at the realization that the world was endless, something she never thought of before. So everything she saw was new. It was almost as though she was the one who'd been thrown into a fairy tale. If she was Alice, then I felt almost like the rabbit holding a watch. To her, it was probably a really fun walk, filled to the brim with excitement. But I was actually at a loss for what to do. After all, I walked randomly to get there. Of course, I didn't know the way back to our mansion. There were no lights in the forest, and I hadn't brought a flashlight. I realized it would be terrible if it got dark while we were still like this in the room patient. She was too innocent, and apparently she couldn't understand at all how frightening it would be to face the night inside the forest. But I was the one who brought her outside. I had to take responsibility somehow and resolve the situation. So I had a thought. Let's go out to the ocean for now. If we then follow the beach around, we should eventually make it back to the mansion. However, that was much more of a problem than I had imagined. I didn't have a map or a compass. There was no way I could walk in a straight line through an uncultivated forest, and I immediately lost my sense of direction. I already had no clue which trail I had come by and was completely lost. At this rate, night would definitely fall before I had a clue where to walk. But this was no time to cry. After all, that woman falling behind me was so innocent and having so much fun, so I definitely had to lead the way through this forest, for the sake of her smile as well, gritting my teeth so she didn't see me looking troubled. I pushed my way through the woods, advancing down a path that wasn't a path. And then after going through various troubles, I fortunately managed to reach the ocean. At that time, I still didn't even have a clue where I was on the island, but for the time being, I was just a little reassured, realizing if I just went around this way, I would surely be able to return to the mansion. However, though I reached the mansion, we were at the top of a rock cliff. The beach was far below us. I was tired from walking around the forest for so long, so I figured that an open area, even a rocky beach, would be able to reach their location, so I suggested that we go down that rocky cliff somehow. It looked pretty dangerous, but I figured out there was no other way. However, Beatrice agreed to my plan without any doubts. Even though she was probably older than me, she meekly obeyed, almost as though she was like some kind of chick who thought I was her mother. I searched to see if there was some part of the cliff I'd be able to get down, and then I found a place where the cliff had fallen over and made a slope. It looked a little dangerous, but if I went down using both hands and both legs I was crawling, I thought it would probably be okay. Let's go down here. It'll be dangerous if we aren't careful, but if we go down to the beach and walk along it, I don't think we'll have to worry about being lost anymore. Indeed. If that's what you're doing, I'll go too. Even getting lost is fun for me. Quite amusing. She really had no sense of danger. There was probably no doubt she'd lived a life without discomfort. Even though she knew it would get dark when night fell, she couldn't imagine how dangerous inside of a forest could be without a light. Furthermore, it seemed she couldn't grasp at all how dangerous it might be if she fell from the cliff. I warned her repeatedly to be careful. I cautiously examined our potential route down. It seemed to be quite a long drop. I think it might have been about 10 meters down. If you look at it from the bottom up, it probably could have looked shorter from the roof of the mansion. But looking at the top, it felt almost like staring down from the observation room on Tokyo Tower. But Beatrice still appeared to be completely without fear. It felt as though she'd never been taught that high places were dangerous. No, maybe she believed that she was a witch and that she could fly, so there wasn't any need to worry. Please be careful. We're pretty high up. Indeed. I shall be careful. It looks like we can get to the ocean if we go down. Is there an aquarium there? No, there aren't any aquariums on the island, but there should be lots of fish in the sea. I see. So there are fish. Are there whales and dolphins and penguins like you talked about? No, you have to go to an aquarium for those. And you have to leave this island to find an aquarium. Is that so? Well, I'm looking forward to it. What kind of fish are whales? They're really big fish. Huh? Aren't they mammals? And they spit seawater into the air. Huh. And dolphins? They're really smart fish. And, oh, weren't they also mammals? They're really smart and they can be taught tricks and stuff. Then what about penguins? Weren't they birds? What's going on? We're talking about aquariums, but none of these seem to be fish. There aren't just fish. It's full of all kinds of things that live in the ocean. I really am looking forward to that. What? She let out what might have been a funny, rushed and short cry. No, it was probably a scream. It came right out of the blue. Her body separated from the cliff and silently fell. I immediately wanted to say something to her. I wanted to say, didn't I tell you to be more careful? It was the thought of a child. It was how a child immediately gets mad when something bad happens, trying to find an excuse to show it wasn't her fault. Of course I said it out loud. Are you okay? Didn't I warn you over and over? So, she fell from the cliff. And then what? Come on, Rudolph, seriously? What happened here, Rosa? Rosa fell silent. Her gaze dropped to her feet as though she were seeing through the floor into some disgusting memory. She died, didn't she? Ava's brutal words were the ones Rosa had wanted most to avoid, and then she was hit with them. She screamed in resignation. Yes! She died! It was a rocky beach with sharp and dangerous rocks exposed! Her eyes were still open and an incredible amount of blood kept pouring out and quickly spreading out until it looked like a red carpet. I spoke to her, I shook her, but she refused to respond. Not even a blink. No, she wouldn't even close her eyelids. It was my fault. She was wearing a dress, remember? Even though I knew her outfit was difficult to move in, I said we should go down the cliff. She was incredibly innocent, so she obeyed what I said without any doubts. How long do you plan on remaining dead? Open your eyes already. Darn you, turning to a look of me all by yourself while I'm gone. I was just flirting with your ass Nechan friends. More importantly, what the heck's going on here? Well, as you can see, I missed my footing and fell down. And died. What the hell? Even though you showed up as a 19th person, you were already dead? Don't mess with me, that's impossible! Aunt Rosa was a kid and she was panicked. It's not like the doctor was there. She was probably mistakenly thought you were dead, and you were probably, alive and pretending to be dead or something. Isn't that right? It can't be true. She's gotta be alive. Otherwise, how could she be here? The kid-age Aunt Rosa shook Beatrice's body, crying. I stared into that face too, but her eyes were still open. It really was a corpse. I wanted to dodge the issue by saying something vague like she must be playing dead, but no matter how I looked at it, it didn't look fake at all. It really did look like she was dead. Beatrice had fallen upside down from the cliff of that height, and her head was smashed against the pointed tip of those sharp rocks. Yeah, we probably would die. landing on those rocks. And that height. I couldn't accept it. No matter how dead she looked, she had to be alive. Then she went on to become this damn irritating witch. That makes all the inconsistencies fit. Grandfather must have kept her confined constantly in a hidden mansion. Then to take revenge for that, she committed several atrocious murders. Aunt Rosa probably just mistakenly thought she was dead, but she was actually alive, and as soon as Aunt Rosa left, then miraculously she would breathe again. Then she somehow lived on until the day and opened the curtain on her revenge drama. Otherwise, the facts don't fit together. I won't let you trick me so easily. Can you repeat it in red? That she's certainly dead. She has to be alive, right? It's obvious! How does that look alive to you? It's definitely dead. My theory that 19th person was grandfather's mistress, a human Beatrice, had been defeated. I planned to strike back from a defensive position, but... Then, who are you? You just died, right? Don't tell me you revived yourself with magic! I've already explained that, have I not? The me lying over there definitely possesses my soul, but that body's nothing more than a cage of flesh, tying me to the physical world. This is how that cage of flesh was broken. Do you understand what that means? I don't have a clue anymore. Keep having fun with your witch girl tricks. I'll listen to that place of a snack. What the? It's empty. Hey, can I get some more black tea? Ronobe, our guest would like some tea. When Beato clapped her hands, Ronobe appeared. Butler sure are convenient. A refill, you say? Certainly. How much shall I pour you? Well, I've got more than enough snacks. Half will be fine. Even so, filling it to the brim is the English custom. Even though just enough to wrap my throat would have been fine, he filled it to the top. I turned my back to Beato, sipping it in silence. Hey, open your eyes! Beatrice! Rosa shook me. No, she shook the corpse that had once been me. I watched over her from a short distance away. Ah, so I fell from there and died. For a while I believed that was true. I saw Rosa spend a long time beside my corpse, and I watched her as she ran away. Eventually I realized I was a different individual from that corpse. That's right. I am me. So I finally managed to escape from Kinzo's bonds. Eventually I felt the memory returning, the fact that I was an endless witch who lived for 1,000 years, and then I remember I'd been summoned by Kinzo, and I had been left in prison by him for a long time. While being imprisoned in a cage of flesh, I completely lost my memory as a witch. However, thanks to Rosa, if you could say that, thanks to my accidental death, I have now finally regained myself. Rosa, you probably regret bringing about my death, but I should be thanking you. I couldn't see Rosa anymore. Did she go to call a doctor, or was she so terrified that she ran away? It no longer matters. That soulless shell no longer has any value. And yet I'm so frail now. Even this glorious midday sun is agony to me. Alright, hold on, I gotta shut up that cricket. I destroyed my human form. Then I changed it into several gold butterflies. Yes, with my magical power as frail as it is now, this form is easier to maintain. To escape even a little from the light of the sun, I rode the wind and gently flew up the side of the cliff. It will probably be a bit cooler in the forest. Anyway, I'll take some time to recuperate and regain my former power. As I ponder how to make Kinzo pay up all he owes me. Okay. I guess I'll have to keep editing. Dancing alone through the air, I looked down at the shore one more time. On the rocky shore lay the figure of what had once been me. The figure I would eventually regain. To regain the form of that physical body I had thrown away. It would probably take more than 100, 200 days. And it might require 1,000 days, or perhaps even more. However, I am the Endless Witch, the Golden Witch who has lived for 1,000 years. Waiting for any countable number of days would be no problem. Oh, Kinzo, regret that you are not here now. No longer will you be able to capture me. And then you change to gold butterflies and hid in the forest and wait for your magical power to be restored. Is that what you're saying? That is correct. I take this form to sneer at you, but most of the time it's easier magically for me to keep my form as gold butterflies. Hey, feel free to take a load off and stick to whatever's easiest. I wouldn't mind not having to hear your irritating laugh. When I turned to butterflies and slipped into the forest, it was already no longer possible for Kinzo to find me. However, Kinzo was not dismayed. Still, he was not immediately able to prepare a way to catch me. So he first moved to prevent me from leaving this island, and to keep me from regaining my power. My, at any rate, Kinzo's spitefulness was unimaginable. It was pretty tough to be loved by someone like that. He found a way to keep you from leaving after you turned to butterflies? What, did he find a bug net around the entire forest? Indeed, a magical one. Didn't you know? On the sea in front of the harbor is a reef, upon which sits a small shrine of Eastern magic. Ah, that. It was gone by this year, though. It was a small shrine built long ago by Shugenja, right? From the very beginning, Rokanjima has been an island enveloped by distortion. It attracts things of magical power and other related creatures. Milady herself is one of them. How about some more tea? Please. They brought harm to humans and probably left several eerie legends in their wake. That small shrine was built in ancient times by an Eastern magician who had heard of them. A long time passed and that power was lost. By repairing it, Kinzo restored this island's barrier and once again bound me to the island. Hold on. I hate crickets so much. Ugh, I hope I don't have to deal with a cricket every time. Is there no quiet place in this goddamn house? Anyway, can Eastern magic work on a Western witch like you? Normally the affinity would be poor. However, for the purpose of sealing me here, it may have been quite convenient in a way. If it's Western magic, I would have some knowledge. For any barrier, there'd have to be some measures I could have taken. Oh wait, oops, sorry, my bad. That was Beatrice's voice. I'm really distracted here right now. Dang it. Must be under the dresser. Okay, sorry. If it was Western magic, I would have had some knowledge for any barrier. There would have been some measures I could have taken. But Eastern magic is outside my area of expertise. It was as if I had been given chopsticks instead of a spoon for some soup that I wanted to drink. In a space dominated by Eastern magic, Western magic loses much of its power. Even if she were given 1,000 days to regain her strength, she would have to wait many, many more. So you're saying it took you 20 years to regain your power, and now that you revived, as we can all see? Those were horribly long years. I spent many days in the form of gold butterflies, found in Kinzo's mansion and watched over him every day. I lived through those days with no means to enjoy myself, except to ponder how would I get back at him. That period of 20 years was fortunate for me. Kinzo tried to use all sorts of magic to find and capture me, but each failed. There's a limit to how many miracles a single human can bring about. Even simply holding me captive for that long had been a miracle far above his place. It would be unthinkable for me to be captured like that many times. Oh my god. Sorry, I can't. Grandfather said something in the previous game. It was something like magic lies and a miracle of probability. Indeed. As Kinzo was searching for a hidden art to capture me again, he stumbled upon that. Then he finally worked out the ceremony involving the offering of 13 people as sacrifices to revive me again. 13 people as sacrifices? That is the witch's epitaph, a song of sacrifices. 6 people on the first twilight, 2 people on the second, and 5 more people on the 4th through 8th twilights. A forbidden ceremony involving the offering of a total of 13 people as sacrifices. Those sacrifices were to be chosen randomly, and the one who held the ceremony, Kinzo himself, was no exception. Dumbass! Are you saying all those gruesome murders on this island are some weird ceremony? I had a vague idea this might be the case, but I couldn't just hear that it was true from a witch and a demon saying, "Oh really?" and accept it. There are 18 people in Rokenjima. 13 are offered as sacrifices, 5 are left alive, and then I revive. In other words, the odds that Kinzo will be able to meet me again are probably around 1 in 3. He bet his own life on those odds, wishing for a reunion for me, for the last bit of his remaining life. You're saying he gathered our family for the sake of a joke of a ceremony? Don't fuck with me! Don't say stuff like that, damn it! It was all set out in our contract from the beginning, when Kinzo's life ended. All the gold I lent him and all of his assets he created would be given to me. Yes, Kinzo did stab me in the back quite brutally, but looking back at it now, it was a rare and precious time during my 1,000 years of life. After all, boredom is my natural enemy. To Kinzo, who offered me a chance to run away from that for several decades. Yes, you could say I could owe him for that. I decided to go along with Kinzo's game, so to start, Kinzo returns the Ushirimiya family head's ring to me. It was my goal to revive the family after all. Then 13 people are chosen at random to be sacrifices. While that happens, you all run about, showing me all kinds of human interactions, as you try to oppose me and entertain me greatly. Yes, I truly have taken a liking to this game of Kinzo's. Okay, let's try again. I definitely won't believe in that kind of magic story. Then who are you? You fell off a cliff and died, right? Your soul slipped out and became fireflies and went to the forest. That isn't possible. But you're here. Who are you? Aren't you the 19th person? That is true. I am the 19th person. But it's useless, right? It's all useless. There are no more than 18 humans on this Rokenjima. What did you say? So you're saying that the X in the 18 plus X doesn't exist? Are you saying the piece I took, the X doesn't exist? That is what this means. My condolences. Still, you do move faster than me, and I thought you let him flounder about before spinning everything around the end. Well then, would you like some more tea? Be agreeable. Oh wait, more tea, be agreeable. I messed up. I don't need it, damn it! I don't believe it! The culprit can't be one of the 18! Then what are you and why are you here? If the 19th person doesn't exist, then you're saying you're one of the 18 in disguise? Perhaps you're still castling. Though reluctantly, you're doubting one of the 18 people as your last way out. However, it will be difficult for me from here on out. If you choose to stop caring about propriety, you could prepare a culprit freely amid 18 people, making you reach your checkmate by evading those 18 pieces. It will be truly difficult. As if I do that, I won't suspect any of the 18. I don't want to suspect people. Have I really been courtier again? Damn it, damn it, damn it! It looks like we're finally approaching the end in the third round of this game of ours. You've nowhere to run anymore, right? You don't want to suspect any of the beloved people in the 18, do you? Were you trying to hide that from me? Then why do you refuse me? They say you should play the opening like a book, the middle game like a magician, and the end game like a machine. I'll corner you from here on, slowly, carefully, surely. Or on the other hand, would it be better if I pressed you all at once, which might suit your style more? Yes, that should fit you well. Let's do that. I'm not fully aware of the sorts of attacks you're weakest against. Damn it. Okay, I think I'm just gonna take a break because, I'm gonna end it tonight. I'm gonna end it now. Like soon. Just give me a moment. I'm not continuing this yet. Oh wait, we're seeing all the other stuff. Okay, I have to check a couple of things because sometimes I don't know what I'm doing. No, I have no idea what I'm doing. No clue at all. Okay. Alright. No. Oh, I can't believe I messed up so badly. I hate crickets so much. I have now a even worse reason to hate them. Okay. Wait, did we read this? No, we didn't. Okay. Alright, well, I guess I'm done. Oh, I can't believe I messed up. I'm gonna go.